Hey everyone, Happy New Year. Welcome to my BSB's favorite things of 2021. We're going to be talking about my favorite movies I saw, my favorite music I heard, and all the video games I liked from 2021. It was kind of a shitty year, but then again, aren't they all? I don't think it was any better or worse than any other recent year. It was better in some ways, worse than others. Isn't that life, though? We're getting all philosophical. What's the fucking word I'm trying to think of? Philosophical? You know what? Let's talk about some movies, huh? So here's my top 10. I actually only saw 12 new movies this year. Well, movies in quotation marks, because a couple of these aren't even movies. I'll explain in a minute. But yeah, I did not watch very many movies from 2021. Let's go ahead and start at number 10. Willy's Wonderland. That's this one right here. You know, right there. You can read. Why do I... Anyway, Willy's Wonderland is Five Nights at Freddy's, basically, with Nicolas Cage. I saw a lot of people hate this movie, and rightfully so. It's not a good movie. It's very cheap. Nicolas Cage doesn't have one line of dialogue in the whole movie, which is weird. It's gimmicky. He's a cool guy. He has a leather jacket, shades. So the plot of the movie, basically, his car breaks down or something. I don't fucking remember. On the road, and he has to... Some guy helps him, and Nicolas Cage doesn't have money to pay the guy or whatever. So he hires him to fix up this fucking, like, Chuck E. Cheese restaurant. Well, Five Nights at Freddy's restaurant. It's called Willy's Wonderland, and it's just a really cheap-looking movie. The acting's really bad. The effects are bad, but you know what? I think it's okay. It's an amusing little movie. If I had watched, like, a bunch of real movies this year, it would not even be close to my list. You can see it's on the bottom there. So yeah, that's Willy's Wonderland. Number 9, I have Halloween Kills, the new Halloween movie that just came out on Halloweenish. I went and saw the last Halloween in theaters in 2018. Came out in October 2018. I did not go see Halloween Kills. I don't really like Halloween Kills. It's such a mixed bag of a movie. Sorry, had to adjust my mic. But yeah, it's a mixed bag, Halloween Kills. The kills are really good in it, and very violent, and I was almost shocked at how fucking violent that movie is. But the story and the characters are so awful. I have nothing else to say about that movie. I'm not really looking forward to the next one, just because Halloween Kills was... Evil dies tonight, you know? Everyone's saying Evil dies tonight every 5 fucking minutes. It just wasn't a very well-made movie, aside from the kills. It's fine. It was fine. Moving on to number 8. Fear Street 1994, the Netflix trilogy of films that they released, like, I don't know, a week apart or some shit. I don't remember how they did it. They staggered them, I know. And Fear Street 1994 was the first of the 3, directed by the same woman. I believe the 3 films star some of the same actors. I've only seen the first one. It was alright. It was very post-Scream slasher, you know, except made in 2020, so it's... or 2021, so it's very current and hip, and it's got all the references, and it uses that really popular Pixies song, which I think is a really good song, but it gets overplayed so much that it's kind of lost its impact, you know? I did not watch the other two Fear Street movies. I did not get to them. I wanted to, because I like 1994 well enough. I never read the R.L. Stine books, so I don't know how... I don't even know if it's like... if it's just using the name of R.L. Stine's book series, or if it's actually a story based on a story hero. I don't remember. And frankly, I don't care that much. Like, the movie was fine, but it's nothing I'll ever go back and rewatch. It was a cute little slasher set in 1994. And that's all. So, number 7 here. Number 7 is a very controversial movie called Don't Look Up. I just watched this, like, I don't say it was December 28th, so right at the end of the year. And it's a comedy about the end of the world. And no one will listen to the people who know it's going to be the end of the world, blah, blah, blah. It's a very cringy movie. But, like, in a good way. Because, like, it's so ridiculous. Like, an over-the-top. It's a satire of, like, politics and all that shit. And I don't mind that. It's fine. It just could have been done better. I mean, it's funny. It's a funny movie. Timothée Chalamet's character is fucking hilarious. Jennifer Lawrence is good. Leonardo DiCaprio. You know, it's all those fancy names, you know, big name actors. So it's fine, you know. If you like big name actor movies, you like Don't Look Up, okay? Now, number 6, Nobody. The Bob Odenkirk John Wick clone. It's pretty good. I have a problem with a lot of John Wick clones, though, because they're trying to do John Wick, but they don't have that atmosphere, or the action's just not quite as tight, or the story's dumb. Nobody's actually like the closest John Wick clone to John Wick, because it actually has Bob Odenkirk going and avenging something kind of like John Wick's dog in the first John Wick. John Wick, John Wick, John Wick. And it's fine. Like I said, it's a John Wick clone. The action and story is whatever. Action's fine. It's good. It's decent. Bob Odenkirk is what drives the movie, because, I mean, who doesn't love Bob Odenkirk, you know? I haven't seen Bob Odenkirk shit since, like, the end of Breaking Bad, because I never watched Better Call Saul, even though I love Bob. And he's awesome. And he's good in the movie. It's a good movie, good role for him. If you like action, it's fine. Speaking of John Wick, number 5, Matrix Resurrections. I like this movie. I know a lot of critics didn't like it. I don't think it's nearly as good as the first one. I think it's on par with the second one, and it's better than the third one. So it's like probably my second or third favorite Matrix movie. I mean, nothing's gonna touch the first one. The problem with the Matrix Resurrections was, I know I mentioned it in Don't Look Up, but cringe. And the cringe in the Matrix Resurrections is bad. Like, all those fucking video game design people at Thomas Anderson's job, you know, throwing in their WTFs and their OMGs in the fucking everyday conversation, and that bothers me. I had to look away from the fucking screen while I was sitting in the theater. Oh yeah, that was my first movie back, by the way, since the pandemic. So that was cool. I did like the movie, though. The action was whatever. I just like Keanu and Carrie-Anne Moss. I wish Lawrence Fishburne and Hugo Weaving would have been in it instead of the imposter characters. That's another nitpick I have with that movie, is those imposter characters. Oh shit, should I say spoilers? Spoilers. Because people might actually care about this movie. To see it, I mean. Whoops. I guess I spoiled a bunch of shit, didn't I? Matrix is probably the only one anyone cares about. Except for, well. Anyway, Matrix was fine. I had a good time at the movies. Number 4. T2JD Calves is a 10-minute drum solo by Calves called T2JD. It's just a drum solo. But it was released this year. It's One of my favorite things. I love that drum solo. Not much else to say about it. He's an amazing drummer. It's my number 4. It's above The Matrix. It's above Nobody. It's above Don't Look. It's a drum solo. It's 10 minutes long. So there's one that's not a actual movie. Number 3 is also not actually a movie. It's more of a online documentary type thing. The History of the Atlanta Falcons by John Boyce. I mean, everyone loves John Boyce. If you don't, what the fuck's wrong with you? His content is just... it scratches every itch and several itches you didn't know you had. Like, I don't care about the Atlanta Falcons. I never have. But the way he tells their story, it's really captivating. You know, there's so many dips and very few highs, actually, in the Atlanta Falcons history, which, you know, it's a nice little history lesson. It's nowhere near as good as his, the Seattle Mariners documentary he did, like, was it last year or 2 years ago? Was it 2020 or 19? I don't remember, but that one was like, mwah, it was like perfect, you know? So yeah, number 3 is the John Boyce 7-part Atlanta Falcons history. Number 2 was probably the best movie I saw all year, Pig, starring Nicolas Cage. And the guy with the mole from Hereditary, who played what's her name's son. Yeah, he's all right in Pig, but Nicolas Cage, his performance in Pig is very subdued, very emotional. It's just a very emotional movie. It made me cry towards the end. Like, I love it when shit like that does. It's one of the only movies I really loved. In fact, Pig and No Time to Die are the only 2 movies from this year I loved. Like, Pig was really good. I should have saved the James Bond music for when I talk about the James Bond movie, but it's okay. It's fine. Yeah, if you haven't seen Pig, go into it totally blind and, like, just expect a drama and you'll have a great time with it. Because it's such a well-made movie. It's beautiful. Number 1. My favorite movie of 2021, of the 12 I saw. Yeah, I only saw 12. I think I mentioned that, but No Time to Die. Daniel Craig's final Bond movie. I fucking loved this movie. I loved it so much, I watched it again the next day. Just soak it all in, and it's such a relaxing Bond film for a Craig film. It's got humor. It doesn't take itself so seriously. I mean, all the Craig Bonds are very serious, but No Time to Die is very much... okay, he'll throw in a little bit of extra cheese on the one-liners, you know? And it's a very emotional movie. If you haven't seen it, spoiler alert, they kill him at the end! I should edit that out. Nah, it's fine. I was totally cool with that decision, just because, like, Daniel Craig's character, like any other Bond actor, their movies don't follow an arc, but Daniel Craig's movies do follow an arc, and I liked that just because it was different, and it was, you know, gritty, modern realism action, you know, and it was good. No Time to Die, I would say, is probably my Casino Royale is probably the best Daniel Craig Bond, the first one. Quantum of Solace sucked. Skyfall, amazing. I don't know if I like No Time to Die or Skyfall better. They're real close for second place. And then Quantum of Solace is last. Spectre's probably fourth. Did he only do 5? I think so. And there you go. There's my top 10 movies. One other movie I would like that I watched this year that came out in 2021 I want to put a spotlight on is called Karen. And it is amazingly horrible. I mean, everything you need to know about the movie you can get from the poster. It's about a white woman named Karen who's crazy, entitled, and racist. And what's it say in the small text? I can't read it. I want the manager. Yeah. She she's a very convincing and good Karen, but the movie and its themes are just so embarrassingly put together. Like, that's not how you tackle racism with shit like that. That movie almost feels like if you watched any of the Saturday Night Live movies from the 90s, you know, Wayne's World, Coneheads, It's Pat, fucking, what's that Molly Ringwald one? Or not Molly Ringwald, Molly Shannon. Superstar. This movie, if it went for jokes instead of being serious, it would have fit in perfectly as a 90s SNL movie. It's almost as funny as them, honestly, just of how the secondhand embarrassment you feel when you watch this fucking movie is nuts. It's very watchable though. The story is completely fucking bonkers. It features this cop guy who, well, he doesn't think for himself. He's like the embodiment of, you know, police politics. And all the characters in this movie just fucking suck. I highly recommend it. It's great hate watching if you're into that kind of thing. Okay. So there's 11 movies I saw this last year. I need to get used to saying that. See, I should have recorded this in December so I could actually say this year and not feel weird about it. Now every time I say this year, it's wrong, and I feel like I have to correct myself. Okay, moving on. What do we have next? My top 15 albums of 2021. I listened to a lot of music. I think I listened, well, some people listen to more, but I think I got like 70 albums from 2021 I listened to. It was a decent amount. Probably the most I've ever actually like actively listened to during a year, you know, during current year. Just because I was so into music all year. I had like a resurgence last year and this year of just wanting to find new music, loving music. And so yeah, let's go through my top 15 albums of 2021. Number 15 is Undo the Chains by Wraith. As you can see, it's a hellbanger, black thrash, ripping magic, baby. Yeah, it's just a good thrash album. See, here's the thing, no one watching this knows the difference between 13, 14, and 15. You all hear that? They'll all sound like the same album to you. No, they're completely different. It's whatever. Number 14, Becoming Cygnus by Becoming the Entity. Beyond Cygnus by Becoming the Entity. Did I say that right? I love that album. I heard that album in like fucking January last year and I loved it. And I thought it was awesome. And it was in my number 2 slot for a long time. Until I went and re-listened to it at the end of the year, and it didn't have the same impact on me it had at the beginning. It's a death metal album with a lot of spacey themes. It's got a lot of fretless bass, which I really like. I fucking dig that. It's a solid album, but it's not number 2 like I had at the beginning. Like halfway through the year, I still had it at number 2, I think. And, well, as you can see, it fell to number 14. Okay, number 13, Death Fugue. Death Fugue by Anthropophagus. It's just a really dumb caveman death metal album. Like, it's so simple. But the riffage is beefy. It hits you over the head like a fucking brick. It's almost too dumb for its own good. Like, some of the songs are so fucking simple. I don't know, you either love it or hate that kind of thing in death metal. A band can do it and do it right. I think Anthropophagus did it all right. It's a decent album if you like pounding death metal. Number 12, Killgrid by Enforced. A really good thrash album. Really meaty riffs. I mean, I say everything has meaty riffs, but that's the kind of music I like, is meaty riffage, you know? Yeah, it's a really good album. I had it like number 5 early in the year. At the end of the year, when I was formulating my list and putting it all together, it kind of fell out of my top 10, but it's still really good. Would recommend if you're into just heavy, meaty, riffy, brutal thrash. Number 11 is LW by KGLW. It's a good album. I don't love all the songs on it. It's got a little bit of filler. But it was by far the best Gizzard album released last year. Well, they only released 2, but it was my favorite of the 2. And it's probably I was gonna say it was my favorite of theirs in a while, but it really wasn't. Because Infest the Rat's Nest is like fucking great. And LW just, it's good. If you like the microtonal stuff, you know, all those sour sounding notes, I like it. It has some really good songs on it. I think it works better as individual songs than it does as an album. Like if I listen to the album, one track, the first track to the last track, it's a little boring, but if you pick out certain songs and like one song at a time, every song has something interesting about it, which I really like. So on to the top 10. Number 10, Slayin' Hell by Steel Bearing Hand. Just a rip-roaring fucking black and thrash album. I think it's that, right? No, it's death thrash, fuck. I knew that. I haven't heard it in a while. I fucking love it though. I need to re-listen to it. I'm not focusing on any 2022 music yet. I'm gonna wait like a week or two, a couple weeks at least. Just because at the beginning of 2021, every album I could find, I just dove in and listened to it for a while, and it kind of wore me out. Like midsummer, I wasn't listening to any new music, and I kind of got back into it. But yeah, Steel Bearing Hand, great album. Made a lot of people's top 10 lists this year. Number 9, Return of the Dragon by Sacred Oath. Sacred Oath is an old band from the 80s. They put out one album in the 80s and then disbanded until like 2000, and since 2000 they've put out like 10 albums, I want to say, something like that. I've only heard their new one. I've never heard any of their older shit. Their new album, Return of the Dragon, here, and it's fucking good. It's a weird album. It's kind of long. It's like an hour long, which is a little long for that type of music. But they make it work because they have this fresh approach. They bring in all these like modern influences and throw it into this old school power thrash metal framework, and it just works. It's good shit, you know? Number 8 is Shock to the System by Tower. Another album I didn't hear until like the last couple weeks of the year when I was like, okay, I need to dig down and see what I'm missing before 2022. And Tower is a great album, the Shock to the System album. It's fucking old school heavy metal. The singer, I don't know her name, but she has such an amazing voice. She is perfectly suited for, you know, like Iron Maiden type vocals. And it's just a fucking great album. I need to listen to it again. Number 7, Solar Paroxysm by Mercognitum. Mare Horsebrain. It's a very good black metal album. I'm not too fond of black metal. There are some black metal albums on here, but that was one of my favorite ones. It has this razor sharp sound to it that I love. It's not murky and muddy like a lot of like raw black metal, you know, all that dumb shit that everyone makes fun of, including me, because I hate it. But yeah, it has a really clear production. I'm getting more and more into black metal the older I get, even though I kind of hate it on general principle. But yeah, good album. Nerve Butcherer by Concrete Winds comes in at number 6. Another album I heard very late in the year. It's a fucking brutal death metal album, man. Not like a brutal death metal album, like the genre brutal death metal. It's just a brutal death metal album. Fucking riffy as hell. It's a fucking slab. I think that's what I even say there. And yeah. See, I forgot that when I made this, I forgot that I had my tiny little 1-sentence blurbs on it. So I'm probably just repeating myself. Why is my... Oh, that's the wrong button. No wonder. Alright, cool. Yeah, and here is my top 5 albums of 2021. As you can see, well, you probably don't know this, but 4 out of the 5 are metal. Number 5, Prophecy of Doom by Electric Crown, was an album that, you see where I took this screenshot from. It's my Rate Your Music top albums of 2021, and on it I rank everything I've heard from the year. I'll put a link to that in the description in case you guys want to check all of it out. But anyway, this guy commented on my list, I don't know, a month ago, 2 months ago or something. And he's like, hey, you should check out Prophecy of Doom by Electric Crown, or check this out. And he sent me a link. And it turns out the guy is the singer and guitarist of the band. And I was like, oh god, it's just some guy promoting his music. It probably sucks. I don't even know. I'll give it a shot. I had an extra hour one day. I was like, I'll give it a shot. It fucking rules. And I am so glad that that guy commented on my fucking list promoting his music, because, like, I love that album. It's got, like, I mean, the band's name's Electric Crown. They kind of have, I don't want to say old school Testament sound, but, like, the second Testament sound, when Testament, like, tried to follow Metallica's lead and kind of sell out a little. Electric Crown kind of captures that sound, but they put it through more of a classic heavy metal lens. And it's just... I love that album. Kudos to, I believe Artemis is his name, for recommending his music to me. I enjoy it quite a bit. Number 4, Visions of Trismegistos by Necromantheon. Now this is a heavy hitter of an album. This motherfucking album shreds! God, I love this album. It's aggressive, I mean, it's abrasive. It's almost too abrasive for its own good. Like, it has such a chaotic atmosphere. Razor sharp guitars. Just the most fucking nihilistic vocals. One of my favorite blackened thrash bands is R Noir, and they don't release albums very often. I think their newest one came out in 2018. Lately they've been going like 5 years between albums, so who knows when the next one will come out. But Visions of Trismegistos by Necromantheon is a worthy successor. If R Noir were the kings of blackened thrash, and they're getting a little old and, you know, a little closer to retirement, I think Necromantheon would be a great replacement on the throne for R Noir. So yeah, that's number 4. Number 3, Dark Throne, Eternal Hails. Dark Throne is, I think, the biggest black metal band in the world, like the most popular. I didn't get into Dark Throne until this fucking year. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, Eternal Hails, fucking amazing album. I didn't realize how much I needed their style of music in my life until I actually sat down and gave them a shot, you know? And it's like, wow, this is amazing music. Number 2, Bittersweet Demons by the Murlocs. The one album on here that's not a metal album of my top 10. To me, it sounds like a classic rock album. Like, that's the style it kind of goes for. A lot of people think it's more pop, and that's fine. I don't know what the fuck it is. I know it rocks. It's got a lot of fucking bluesy harmonica. It's got a lot of, I don't want to say deep because that sounds pretentious, but it's got a lot of thought-provoking lyrics, you know, real personal shit. I love that kind of thing. But I love Ambrose's work, you know, all his work with King Gizzard, all his work with the Murlocs. It's not my favorite Murlocs album, but I still love it. They have like 5 albums now. It's in the top 5. Nah, it's probably like my 3rd or 4th favorite, though. It's really fucking good. And number 1, an album no one else likes but me, Semper Pessimist by Acid Age. I actually submitted this album. I'm in a weekly listening group type thing where every week we listen to 4 albums that someone from the group submits and we rate them. Nobody liked Semper Pessimist. I think it's a 10 out of 10 fucking album. I love it. It's so dirty and yet controlled and technical, yet streamlined. People didn't like the production. I thought it was fine. I thought it harkened back to an old school 80s, late 80s type sound. It sounded very organic to my ears. I just love it. I think they're a great fucking band. People made fun of me for liking that album, but I don't care. It's fucking great. My album of the year. And I love it. Okay. So, we've done all that. Those are my favorite albums of 2021. You're welcome. I'm sure you all would love to see the recommendations. Now let's look at what I listened to most in 2021. These are the top 20 bands I listen to the most. We'll start at the bottom, of course. Numbskull is an old school death metal band from the 80s, early 90s. They broke up, or they didn't break up, but their second album was shelved, like the record company didn't release it, and I've been jamming the shit out of that. Oh, it's so good. Numbskull's a band I've loved for a long time, though, so it was good to revisit them. Number 19, Dark Throne. I mentioned them. Their newest album made my top 3. Dark Throne is fucking phenomenal. They have like 20 albums, I want to say, and I've listened to like 7 of them now. 6 or 7 of them. One of them I don't like, which is actually their most popular, which is weird. But all the rest are good, like really fucking good. I want to listen to more of them because they're such a great fucking black metal band, and they've actually made me change my mind a bit about black metal. Number 18, Budgie. Budgie is a heavy metal band from the 70s who were one of the bands that basically invented the heavy metal sound, you know? Dun dugga dun dugga dun. They helped pioneer that shit. And that early 70s Budgie output is just the best. One second. Budgie is like the best road trip band in the fucking world. It's because all their songs are like 8 minutes long. One of their songs starts with like a 5-minute drum solo. They're just, if you like Rush, you will love Budgie. Well, I don't know about love, but they're very similar to Rush in that they're a 3-piece. They do some progressive stuff, although Budgie's not nearly as progressive as Rush, and Budgie's a bit heavier. And they have one of those singers. Like, everyone knows what Geddy Lee sounds like, you know, his voice. Love it or hate it. I love it personally. And the singer of Budgie has, he doesn't sound like Geddy Lee, but if you hear him, Geddy Lee will come to mind, I guess. Is the point. Yeah, Budgie rules. Number 17, Saxon. I actually went through and listened to every Saxon album this year, except for like the newest 5, I want to say. So I listened to like 17 Saxon albums. Boy, Saxon's a classic band, man. Their 2nd through their 5th albums are all classics, and then they put out another classic in 1997. Everything else is whatever, man. But you gotta give it up to the legends. I watched Saxon's documentary, actually, this year. It's from a couple years ago, and it was a really good look inside, you know, the history of Saxon. A lot of interviews with former band members, other heavy metal musicians. Saxons just love Saxon. Always have, always will. Pink Floyd. So Pink Floyd, everyone knows who Pink Floyd is, right? I got into Pink Floyd in 2021. Like, everyone knows the radio hits, right? I actually sat down and listened to 5 Pink Floyd albums this year. A couple of them I didn't like, but a couple of them are like life-changingly good. Like Animals. Animals isn't even my favorite, but it's really good. I listened to Obscured by Clouds. I didn't care for it. The Wall I did not like at all. But Pink Floyd's just so good. Like, even those albums that aren't good have good songs on them. And yeah, I'm super excited to listen to the rest of Pink Floyd, you know, probably this year sometime. Wintersorg, number 15. Did I listen to Wintersorg that much? Yeah, I guess. I probably listened to Cosmic Genesis and Odemark and Son. Great Viking-themed metal. Yeah, not much else to say about that. I'm surprised I have that many Wintersorg plays this year, but it's okay. Number 14, Rush. One of my favorite bands ever. I mean, I don't need an excuse to listen to some goddamn Rush. No one else should either. I'm a little... There's still 2 Rush albums I haven't listened to all the way through. And I need to change that. Because I haven't listened to Presto and I haven't listened to Test for Echo. I should change that. Okay, moving on. Number 13, Metal Church. Metal Church, like Saxon, was a band I listened to every album, their entire discography this year. Metal Church, also Metal Church's singer Mike Howe committed suicide a few months ago, and that was a bummer because he was a great metal vocalist. Had a lot of power in his voice, but had a lot of melody too. And he just always seemed like such a cool guy, you know? And it was a shame. As far as the albums he sings on, Metal Church has had 3 singers. David Wayne, Ronnie Monroe, and Mike Howe, the one who committed suicide. The Mike Howe and Ronnie Monroe albums just aren't that great, unfortunately. It's a shame. But hey, Metal Church has 3 fucking bona fide instant classic albums. Instant. They're fucking 30 years old. But yeah. Listen to Metal Church. Number 12, Tropical Fuckstorm is one of my favorite new bands. Been around for the last 4 years or so. Their new album, they put out an album in 2021. It did not make my top 15. I don't think it made my top 25. It might not. It was very a meh album of the 3 they've put out. Every time I listen to it, I like it a little bit more, just a wee bit. But it's just not. It doesn't crank my hog, you know? What? Okay, number 11 is Dredge. Dredge are like this really fucking trendy, hip, pretentious fucking indie rock band. And I grew up, like, I remember buying their 3rd album, Bug Eyes, or is it? No, it's Catch Without Arms. Bug Eyes is one of the songs on it, though. And I loved that album when I bought it. I think I was like 14 when I got it. I love that album even more now, but for completely different reasons. Back when I listened to Dredge to start, I listened to them because, oh wow, this is really saying something. These lyrics are personal, you know? Now when I read and listen to Dredge lyrics, I am just like facepalming because they are so narcissistic and self-centered and amazingly funny. But the thing about Dredge is the music is actually really good. Like, because they started as a kind of a progressive jazzy rock band and they distilled their sound into this indie pop. And it's good. They're a great band. It's a shame that they suck now. I don't even know if they're a band anymore, actually. But all right. Now we move on to my top 10 most listened to artists of the year. We'll start at number 10, Children of Bodom. Children of Bodom is a band that I grew up with a little bit as a metal band. Like, they were one of my gateway bands, as the people like to say. And I liked them a lot. I listened to them a lot. Then I didn't listen to them for like 5 years in a row. Then about, I guess it was 370 days ago or so, their singer and guitarist, Alexi Laiho, died. And that was a fucking huge bummer, because he was such an amazing guitarist, so underrated, did not get the recognition he deserved in his generation until he's dead. Like, now everyone's like, oh wow, he was so good, you know. And he always has been, and people have said that about him, but it's just, I don't feel like he got enough respect. Everyone took him for granted while he was alive. So, of course, when that news broke, I had to listen to all the classic Children of Bodom albums. Some of the new ones I never heard were pretty good, but nothing beats that old shit. Rest in peace, Alexi Laiho. Number 9, Aerosmith. I mean, what do you want from me? I love Aerosmith. They were my original favorite band when I was like 5 years old. I was like, Aerosmith, Aerosmith, Aerosmith. My mom, when she would ground me, would take all my Aerosmith CDs away. That's how much I loved Aerosmith. Yeah. Number 8, Love Bites. They actually broke up this year, and that is disappointing, because they are 5 of the most talented women in the history of metal. And it's a shame their bassist decided to quit music, and you know, they just called it quits. Very good power metal. Just over the top. You know, loud, boisterous. Every song's like an anthem. You know the type of shit. Like your Sabaton, except Love Bites is faster and a little more sugary compared to the gruff, you know, war-themed Sabaton shit. Yeah, Love Bites. Check them out. Love that band. Number 7, Tyr. I love me some Tyr. One of my favorite Viking metal bands. I don't like that many, really. Them and Winter Sorg and a couple others. But yeah, Tyr's good. Number 6, Boris. Boris is one of my favorite bands. I tried to listen to all of Boris's discography, do a discog run, as they say, and I kind of got stuck with like 10 albums left because Boris has like 50 fucking albums, and I couldn't find some of them to listen to. I ran out of music on the playlist. We're gonna start it over. But yeah, Boris has such an array of different sounds in their music. And going through their discography was actually extremely rewarding because a bunch of their music I thought would be boring and I wouldn't like. I actually was in the right headspace. I was in the perfect headspace to listen to Drone Evil. And that album, oh, it's so fucking good. If you don't think you like drone metal, and you might not, who knows? No one really does. Like, once you find... Here's the thing, if you have a genre of music you don't like and you think you don't like or you don't want anything to do with it, then you hear something in it that's like, wow, this really clicks. It changes your whole outlook. And that's what listening to Boris did for me, because I'm mostly into like their stoner, doom metal type shit, or their faster, like punkier shit, but they're really slow drone. Just a great band, man. One of my favorites. Number 5, Joyless. I actually just completed my Joyless collection. I was able to get their first album, which I didn't think was available anywhere. It turns out it's been fucking on Bandcamp for 3 years, motherfucker. Why didn't you look there? I love Joyless. Their first album's black metal. Their second album's like depressing rock, and it's my favorite. And their third album's more depressing rock. And they have a compilation in there with a bunch of demos and shit. I have that too. Love Joyless, man. Joyless is the band I'm going to listen to when I shoot myself in the head, because it's that kind of attitude, you know? Just fucking get it over with already. What are you waiting around for? Happy New Year. Number 4 is Razor. Razor, as you could probably guess from the name, is a razor lightning fast thrash metal band. And they just fucking rule. They got a new album coming out this year, which I'm guessing will make my top 10 albums of the year. We'll see. Murlocs, of course. Number 3, we talked about them. They had a new album out. I listened to it quite a bit. Love the Murlocs. Number 2, Hexenhaus is a weird 90s metal band, 80s and 90s thrash band. Put out 4 albums, 2 in the 80s, 2 in the 90s. And I discovered their late 90s album, Deja Voodoo. And man, that album has the riffs. Good shit. And of course, my number 1 is King Gizzard, just because they put out 2 albums this year, and they have 15 other albums that I go back to a lot. Haven't listened to Giz in a while, but you know how it is. Just the Giz. I'm still addicted to them, even though my addiction has died down a bit. I haven't listened to them as much, because they haven't put out an album since, I want to say, spring. I think they put out Butterfly 3000 in like April or July or some shit. May, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, those are my most listened to, my absolute most listened to artists of 2021. And for the piece de la resistance, we're gonna go through my favorite video games of 2021. I didn't play very many video games from 2021, and I liked even less. But let's start off here with, I have a top 8. I didn't even have enough games to do a top 10 list, so we're gonna start number 8. And for number 8, I have Skydrift Infinity, which is, it's like Mario Kart, but in planes, as I think Chesh said in chat. Pick power-ups, shoot each other and shit. It's a lot of fun. I only played it the one time. It was a game I got free from the devs, and I really enjoyed it. It made my top 8. So there you go. I streamed it once. There's video of it on my YouTube. You can see me having fun with this game if you want. Let's see. Number 7 is a game called Circuit Superstars. I bought this shit December 30th. I played it 47 minutes. And that's why it's so low, because it's such a good fucking racing game. It's so amazingly good. It's top down, it's very difficult. The thing about this game is it's arcadey, but the physics are difficult to use correctly. Like, if you think of an arcadey racing game, for instance, one I play a lot is Trackmania Stadium. It's very arcadey, but it takes a certain degree of skill to control the car and control it well. That's how Circuit Superstars is. You can drive these cars no problem. They're easy to drive. They're just very hard to drive well. And I can't wait to put at least an hour into this game. I'm gonna stream this game soon, by the way. So a little sneak preview there. Let's go to my next favorite, number 6. This is a game I streamed. Bonk. Temple of Snek. I'm not big into puzzle games, but I had a lot of fun with Temple of Snek. It was cute, fun. It made me feel stupid because I'm bad at puzzles, but overall, yeah, it was fun, right? So yeah, that's number 6. Number 5 is Bloodspear, another game I streamed. It's on my YouTube. It's a free game. You can play it on Steam if you want. As you can see, it only took me 45 minutes to beat it. It's a student game made by a class. I don't remember where. But like, that's cool shit. Available for free. Apparently they're turning it into a full game or something. Maybe like a spiritual successor type thing. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it though, because it's really solid Souls-like, but with projectile-based combat, spear-based instead of sword-based. So yeah, real cool stuff. Number 4, I almost don't want to include this game. Frankenstorm TD Prologue. So the story with this game is I applied for a key for this game on Keymailer, and the dev sent me one. Oh, awesome. Isn't that great? I checked the Steam page. It's fucking free to play. I'm like, okay, you sent me a key for a free to play game. You're just trying to get your fucking game out there, aren't you? Well, I said screw it. I tried it and got really addicted to it. It's a very basic tower defense game. It's probably not nearly as good as fucking like Bloons Tower Defense 6. It's just not on that level. It's made by a teacher in New Zealand, I think? Like a high school professor or some shit. It's very simple tower defense, but I'm not gonna lie, this game's very addicting, and I played 17 hours of it in like 3 days, and then I never touched it again. But I had to include it just because it's silly. You think that's silly? Here's my number 3 favorite game of the year. Madden. Fucking Madden, mate. I had been itching to play some football. I haven't played a Madden in like 7 years. I think I had like Madden 25 on the PS4. I don't even remember if that was the last one I had. I think it was. But yeah, it's Madden 22. What do you want me to say about it? It's Madden. A lot of people complain about, oh, it's just roster updates, you know, and yeah, I get it. I'm not saying go out and buy EA shit. Fuck EA. But like, to people who like Madden, like the games, there's nothing else like it. When it's good, it's great, you know? And that's me. I grew up on Madden. I wanted the new one. I wanted to play it. Fucking bought it, and I have been enjoying the hell out of it. So there's that. My number 2 favorite game of the year is a game I streamed quite a bit. Y'all know what I feel about SRX, Superstar Racing Experience, the game. Great racing game. Better than any oval racing game that's been out and that's been released in fucking 15 years. I'm not talking about like simulators, like iRacing, Assetto Corsa, shit like that. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about like an arcadey, sit on the couch with your controller and just play an oval racing game. SRX is the best one that's been released since 2006 that I know of. As far as like NASCAR style stock car racing, SRX is where it's at. It could be better. It's not super simmy, which makes it more accessible, of course, but I prefer a little simmy, but it's still an enjoyable game, and it's my number 2. So then what BSB is your number 1? Well, it's Valheim, a game that I haven't played since April. But the amount of time I put into this game, I would play this game like 5 hours every night, at least. Had such an amazing world, had so many adventures. I want to get back into it at some point. 2022, we will get back into Valheim at some point. It's my favorite game of 2021. What do you want, right? And then I'm trying to think back, like, wait a minute, was it 2020 or 2019? Because the game's been in early access forever. Well, it says it came out February. I don't know how. Who fucking knows how early access shit works these days, you know? All right, well, that's all I had to say. You saw my favorite movies, my favorite albums. Talked about my favorite video games of this year. If I do this in the future, let's just hope for my sake I watch at least 20 or 30 new movies in 2022, and maybe I'll play like, I don't know, 10, 15 more games so I could actually fill out a top 10, you know? But yeah, if you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching. Yeah. There you go. Happy New Year. We'll see you next time, buddy.